Broken Hill, in the deep outback of New South Wales, a group of landscape artists live and have made names for themselves. The name that most readily springs to mind is, of course, Pro Hart, but another name associated with this outback mining town is Sam Byrne. Sam was a naive painter, and he spent his entire working life down the mine. And he was well into retirement before he started painting at the age of 72. Now, there are similarities between Sam Byrne and Pro Hart. They were both self-taught, both worked for BHP mines, both used this district as subject matter, and they were good friends. But here, comparisons must end, because while Sam Byrne can be classified as a naive artist, Pro Hart most certainly cannot. In this program, I want to consider the phenomenon of the untaught naive artist, and to distinguish between this and an artist like Pro Hart, who is self-taught, but who is anything but naive. Naive artists are rare. They seem to be blessed with a visual memory that most of us lose when we leave childhood. And like children, they seem to be able to express themselves unself-consciously and without fear of failure. But unlike children, they have a lifetime of experience to draw on. When Sam Byrne began to paint, he had absolutely no interest in the work of other artists or in any tradition in art. He discovered that he had vivid memories of the past and that he could put these memories down with ease. It was a gift, rather like being able to spin a good yarn. Pro Hart, on the other hand, is sharply aware of art traditions, both here in Australia and overseas. He realised that what Drysdale had done for the Riverina district, he could adapt to this semi-arid region of New South Wales. So this is the style that he uses to tell the story of life in and around Broken Hill. As with all artists working within a tradition, Pro Hart is well aware of his place within it. This is where Pro Hart makes his vast private collection available to the public. Pro, were you still working with BHP when you started collecting paintings?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's how I got most of my good painting. And the first one was a Dobell. I remember, bought off Kimber Knighton, and then I used to work contract on the mines, which was big money, and that enabled us to buy a lot of painting. And I didn't ever intend it to get as big as it is.
And Pro, when did you start painting?
When I started school. I was 7 years old, and I used to illustrate what I was writing about, because we had a sheep station, we had correspondence school, which was from Blackfriars, Sydney. That's where it was sent from. And they was be asked to write something, you know, and I'd illustrate it. And the teachers used to encourage it because they could see I was a useless writer, but I could sketch what I was talking about.
This is his painting called Drought, painted in 1993 and now in the Broken Hill Regional Gallery. You can see here that he is a consummate handler of the brush and that he is a great admirer of style. He's painted the blue of the sky and the red of the desert first, and then when both were dry, he's painted the fence, the tree, the dried carcass of the kangaroo with a sable brush. Look at the confident flourish of the wire there. The trees, the leaves of the trees, have been stippled on. Now the trees that grow around here actually do look like this, but they also remind us of Russell Drysdale's trees. Perhaps a fortuitous coincidence.
Well, he got Australia's colour, and the way he done things was amazing. I can remember one of his with a pair of mudguards in it off a car, you know, and that's just something I'd paint. So I really like what he done. And I bought a lot of the Drysdale drawings and watercolours and gouaches and things like that, but only because his oils are too dear at the time. And I haven't got a major oil of Drysdale.
No, but you've got quite a collection.
I've got a good collection of his stuff, yeah. But I love the drawings anyway. And but his handling of colour, that's really, I reckon, it's brilliant.
Can you remember what started Sam Byrne painting?
Yeah, he started to, he was 76, and he decided he's always been able to draw, and he started doing paintings of Broken Hill and the mines and the history, like he used to work on the mines, And then there was an art competition here once, and it really launched him off. And he had 2 paintings in it, and Len French gave him first prize and second prize.
Sam Byrne calls this picture Memory Painting 1890, and it was painted in 1976 when Sam was 93 years old. He wants to show us how the mine looked when he was a young man, to show us how the horse-drawn carts once dumped this molten waste on the slag heap. See the red flow of molten metal here? He wants to show us how this railway viaduct once linked the smelters to the mine shaft. Look how they went down the mines 100 years ago. These here are candle holders. They were no more than flat wooden slats with holes to fit a candle. Sam Byrne gives us a very personal view of mining in the late 19th century. He paints his pictures with house paint, and he would use the little metal caps of a soft drink bottle to put out his colours, and then with a very small brush builds detail on detail. For a 93-year-old, he has a very steady hand. Sam Byrne's talent seems to have taken him by surprise, because he once said, "I never knew I was going to be an artist. That's why I went to work down the mines." Now, although he had such a very late start, Sam Byrne had nearly 20 years to build a reputation of being one of Australia's most prolific naive artists.